Dear children, in this video let us discuss the third poem of your textbook, A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. The poem A Tiger in the Zoo is written by Leslie Norris, and in this poem the poet tries to depict the mental condition of a caged tiger. He compares the life of a tiger in the zoo with its life in its natural habitat. Now let's read the poem together. Please open your textbook, children. A Tiger in the Zoo. He stalks in his vivid strips, the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plump deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Written by Leslie Norris. Dear children, now let's discuss the meaning of the poem stanza-wise. He stalks in his vivid strips the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. Dear children, in the first stanza, the poet sees a tiger locked in a concrete cell in the zoo. It's a very small cage. The tiger can hardly take a few steps along the length of the cage. He looks majestic as he slowly moves up and down his cage. The sharp and clear strips on his body are of strong, bright colors. His pads are velvet soft. In spite of all his strength, he now lies imprisoned behind the bars. The caged tiger is angry. He is full of rage but is quiet because he knows that he is helpless here. Dear children, please observe the third and the fourth line. On pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. Here, the repetition of words velvet quiet, quiet rage is used by the poet in order to increase the intensity of the tiger's rage and his helpless silence. Velvet quiet refers to the quiet velvet pads of the tiger, which cannot run or leap. They can only walk around the limited space in the cage. The use of quiet rage symbolizes the anger and the ferocity that is building up inside the tiger as it wants to run out into the forest. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where plump deer pass. Dear children, in this stanza, looking at the imprisoned tiger, the poet is filled with pity. He says that the poor tiger should have been in his natural habitat, that is, in the jungle, hunting and resting. Then, at this hour of the night, he would have been lying in the shadows of trees and sliding quietly through the long grass. He would then, near the water hole, wait for some fat and healthy deer to pass that way. Thus, he would be lying there in expectation of a heavy feast. Now let's understand what the poet further tells in third stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. In these lines, The poet imagines what the tiger would be doing in case he failed to find any prey in his natural habitat. He says that the tiger would be angrily moving around the houses in a nearby village. He would be growling at the edge of the jungle near some village. He would be showing his white fangs and terrible claws while moving here and there. He would thus become a cause of terror for the villagers. The poet here gives a hint that if we continue to destroy the forest cover and the natural habitat of the tigers, they will be forced to turn to our towns and villages to find their food. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Dear children, in this para, the poet sees the tiger is locked in a concrete cell in the zoo. In spite of all his strength, he now lies imprisoned behind the bars. Very slowly and silently, the tiger moves up and down along the length of the cage. He moves in an angry and threatening manner. He takes no note of the visitors who had come to the zoo to have a look at him. He completely ignores them as none of them thinks of releasing him from his prison. Moreover, due to their presence, he hardly gets any rest during the day. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Dear children, in the last stanza, the poet tells that due to the visitors, the tiger gets no rest during the day. Even at night, he remains disturbed due to the noise that comes from the patrolling cars. The tiger has thus lost all hope and feels very helpless. He thus stares at the brilliant stars shining brightly in the sky. It seems that he is looking for some sort of comfort and hope in these stars. His brilliant eyes show that he still hopes for the day when he would be able to run free in the forest and live in natural surroundings. Dear children, notice the use of the phrase brilliant eyes and brilliant stars. Here, the use of brilliant for the tiger's eyes as well as the stars also brings out the magnificence of these lines. The tiger stares at the brilliant stars with his brilliant eyes, dreaming about how beautiful his life could have been in the forest. This repetition thus gives a wonderful effect to the poem. Dear children, love for freedom is the natural instinct of every living being. Everyone loves freedom and does not want to live in confinement. Similarly, the tiger also longed for freedom. He was so fed up being caged that he even ignored the visitors. He took to and fro steps in the cage as if trying to while away the time. The tiger wanted to escape this captivity. God has made all living beings equally, and thus the animals too have the right to freedom. They should not be caged. It is their right to enjoy their natural habitat, that is, the forest, and run freely in the wild. Confinement leads to depression and misery. Moreover, their offsprings lose the hunting capabilities as they are not trained to hunt in the wild. As a result, they would not be able to feed themselves. Furthermore, confining wild animals disturbs the whole ecological balance. We should thus let the animals run free in the wild. They belong to the forest and not to the cage. Dear children, I hope you have understood this poem, A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. Happy learning.